What's going on, Narrative Analysts? This is Jax Riley, and I've been filtering through the digital noise around Caitlin Clark's CBA negotiations, and what I've uncovered is absolutely nuclear. While everyone's focused on whether Clark might force her way out of Indiana, they're completely missing the real weapon her agent Lindsay Kagawa-Colas is wielding. And it's not some backdoor CBA manipulation. It's a $220,000 salary structure that has the WNBA absolutely terrified. See, here's what the other channels won't tell you. While competitors are spinning conspiracy theories about Clark forcing moves through mysterious CBA loopholes, the real leverage play is happening right out in the open, and it's called Unrivaled basketball. But here's what they missed completely. This isn't just about one player threatening to leave. This is about Clark's representation using alternative league economics to expose just how broken the WNBA's entire salary structure really is. And the league knows it. If you're new to the channel, smash that subscribe button because we dive deeper into the meta-narratives that drive WNBA culture, the stories behind the stories that everyone else is either missing or afraid to tell you. Now, let me break down exactly what's happening here, because once you see the full picture, you'll understand why the WNBA is in full panic mode. First, let's establish the baseline reality that competitors are ignoring. Unrivaled, the new 3-on-3 league co-founded by Brianna Stewart and Nafisa Collier, is offering average salaries of $220,000 for just 8 weeks of basketball. To put that in perspective, that's more than most WNBA veterans make in an entire season. But here's where it gets wild. And this is information that comes directly from league sources. Paige Bucher's 3-year Unrivaled deal will pay her more in year 1 than her entire WNBA rookie contract will be worth. Think about that for a second. A college player who hasn't even entered the WNBA yet is already making more money from 8 weeks of alternative basketball than she'll make in 4 years as a professional. That's not just a market inefficiency. That's a market revolution. Now, obviously nothing is officially confirmed about Clark's team leveraging this specifically, but if you follow the digital breadcrumbs, a different picture emerges. Sources close to the CBA negotiations tell me that when Lindsay Kagawa-Colas walks into those meetings, she's not carrying some secret CBA manipulation playbook. She's carrying unrivaled salary comparisons, and that's terrifying the league. See, what competitors missed in their conspiracy theories is that Clark isn't trying to use CBA loopholes to get special treatment. Her agent is using market reality to expose systemic underpayment. When you can make $220,000 in 8 weeks playing 3-on-3 basketball, suddenly the WNBA's rookie scale, which maxes out at around $64,000, looks absolutely insulting. But here's what the temperature of the online conversation reveals about why this is so much bigger than one player's contract. The WNBA Players Association opted out of their current CBA in October 2024, meaning negotiations are happening right now for a deal that expires October 31, 2025, and over 100 players could become free agents in 2026, including 20 of last season's All-Stars. That brings us to the inevitable question. What happens when every elite player's agent starts carrying unrivaled comparisons into their negotiations? Now, let's get into rumor territory. Nothing is officially confirmed, but the online chatter is too loud to ignore. Multiple sources suggest that Clark's representation isn't threatening to leave the WNBA for Unrivaled. Instead, they're using Unrivaled's salary structure to argue that the entire WNBA rookie system is obsolete. And here's the angle nobody's covering. This strategy benefits everyone, not just Clark. See, When competitors frame this as Clark trying to get special privileges, they're missing the collaborative revolution happening in plain sight. Clark's team isn't demanding individual exemptions from the CBA. They're demanding the CBA evolve to reflect market reality. I've been connecting the dots through social media conversations, and what emerges is fascinating. Players across the IE League are quietly supporting this approach because they know Unrivaled's existence changes everything. When alternative leagues are offering more money for less work, suddenly the WNBA's entire value proposition crumbles. Official sources won't tell you this, but if you read the signals from the league's recent statements, the panic is real. Commissioner Engelbert has repeatedly used words like transformational when discussing the upcoming CBA. That's not coincidence. That's crisis management. But here's where the story gets even more interesting, and why Clark's billion-dollar impact creates unprecedented leverage. The WNBA just signed a $2.2 billion media rights deal starting in 2026, a 300% increase from their current $50 million annually. That's not just growth, that's explosion. And Clark's representation knows that timing creates a perfect storm scenario. Think about it. Massive revenue increases coinciding with CBA negotiations, while alternative leagues offer competitive salaries. That's not just leverage, that's nuclear-level negotiating power. Now, I've been following the digital breadcrumbs around how this connects to league expansion, and what I found is mind-blowing. The WNBA is adding 7 new teams by 2030, creating over 70 new roster opportunities. With expansion fees hitting record $250 million, the league clearly has money. The question becomes, why are they paying franchise owners more than elite players? But here's what they don't want you to know about Clark's specific positioning in all this. While competitors suggest she might threaten to leave for bigger markets like New York or LA, they're missing her documented public statements. Clark recently said about CBA meetings, "Obviously, this is my second year in the league, but also this is also a very important time for our league, and where it's going to continue to grow. So I'm certainly looking forward to those meetings." That's not the language of someone planning to abandon ship. That's the language of someone planning to reshape it. The temperature of insider conversations suggests Clark's team is positioning her not as a disruptor, but as a transformative leader. Instead of demanding individual privileges, they're advocating for systemic changes that elevate everyone. And the league knows they can't say no. Here's why. Clark contributed 26% of all WNBA activity in 2024. Her presence increased Indiana Fever attendance to 17,035 average, which actually surpassed the NBA Pacers, who play in the same arena. When one player generates that level of economic impact, her agent doesn't need to threaten anything. Market reality speaks for itself. So what's fact and what's speculation? Let's break it down. Fact: Unrivaled offers $220,000 for 8 weeks. Fact: WNBA rookie contracts max out around $64,000 annually. Fact: the current CBA expires in 2025, with negotiations happening now. Fact: Clark's economic impact is quantified at potentially $1 billion for the league. Speculation: Clark threatening to leave for alternative leagues. Reality: her representation using market comparisons to reshape rookie compensation structures for everyone. Now, I've been filtering through the noise around veteran reactions, and the narrative is shifting. While some competitors suggested players like Angel Reese were frustrated with Clark's privileges, what they missed is how established stars are actually responding. Candace Parker emerged as a key voice defending Clark, stating publicly that she deserves support rather than resentment. That's not just veteran politeness. That's strategic alliance building. Parker understands that Clark's leverage creates opportunities for everyone. But here's what really exposes how sophisticated this strategy is. Clark isn't just participating in CBA meetings as some passive observer. She's actively engaging as a non-committee member, which means she's influencing discussions without official union responsibilities. That positioning allows her to advocate for transformative changes while maintaining collaborative relationships. The signals point to something much smarter than the conspiracy theories suggest. Instead of Clark versus the WNBA, it's Clark elevating the WNBA. If you're still here, drop a comment letting me know what you think about this alternative league leverage strategy, because this next part is where it gets absolutely wild. The WNBA Players Association is reportedly preparing for potential work stoppage before the 2026 season if CBA negotiations fail. With over 100 players potentially becoming free agents and alternative leagues offering competitive salaries, the union's bargaining position just became exponentially stronger. And Clark's representation helped create that leverage for everyone. Now, let's talk about what this means for the future, because the implications go way beyond one player's contract. When competitors focus on whether Clark might force a trade or demand special treatment, they're missing the systematic transformation happening. Her agent isn't using CBA loopholes. She's using market evolution to make the CBA obsolete. I've been reading the signals from league leadership, and the response tells you everything. Instead of pushing back against player demands, Commissioner Engelbert keeps emphasizing partnership and growth. That's not confidence. That's acknowledgement that the power dynamic has shifted. But here's the twist that nobody saw coming. Clark's strategy might actually save the WNBA from itself by forcing salary conversations now. Before more players defect to alternative leagues, her representation is creating urgency around systemic fixes. Without that pressure, the league might have sleepwalked into a talent exodus. So, while competitors paint Clark as selfish or disruptive, the reality is her leverage is protecting the WNBA's future. The temperature of social media conversations around this topic reveals something fascinating. TikTok engagement around Clark content shows massive audience reach. The WNBA hashtag alone generated 753 million views compared to YouTube's 70 million over 16 years. That level of cultural penetration creates different rules. When your star player can generate more social media engagement than your entire league's traditional marketing, suddenly their agents' demands start looking like business necessities rather than diva behavior. Here's what the other channels won't tell you about where this is heading. The 2026 CBA negotiations will likely result in dramatic salary increases, expanded marketing rights, and modified rookie contract structures. Not because Clark is using CBA weapons, but because market reality demands evolutionary change. Unrivaled's success proves there's appetite for high-level women's basketball with appropriate compensation. The WNBA can either adapt to that reality or watch their talent pool migrate to leagues that already have. And Clark's billion-dollar impact gives her representation the credibility to demand that adaptation happen now, for everyone's benefit. But here's what's really wild about the timing of all this. The competitor video I analyzed completely missed how Clark's team is using transparency as a competitive advantage. While other agents operate in shadows, Lindsay Kagawa-Colas lets Clark participate publicly in CBA meetings and speak openly about league growth. That's not accident. That's strategy. By being visible in transformation efforts, Clark positions herself as collaborative leader rather than selfish disruptor. Official sources won't tell you this, But the digital breadcrumbs suggest the WNBA is already adjusting their approach. Recent expansion announcements, charter flight implementations, and media rights negotiations all reflect acknowledgement that the league needs to modernize rapidly. Clark's representation didn't create that pressure. They just made it impossible to ignore. Now, before we wrap up, let me tell you what I think happens next, because the signs are all there if you know how to read them. The 2025 CBA negotiations will establish new precedents for rookie contracts, revenue sharing, and player empowerment. Clark's involvement ensures those precedents benefit future stars, not just herself. Alternative league competition means the WNBA can't lowball anymore. The league's $2.2 billion media deal provides resources for systemic improvements. Expansion creates opportunities that reduce zero-sum competition between players. And Clark's collaborative approach builds coalition support, rather than divisive resentment. Most importantly, her representation's transparency strategy positions these changes as collective advancement rather than individual privilege extraction. So while competitors focus on conspiracy theories about CBA manipulation, the real story is market evolution forcing institutional adaptation. Clark's agent isn't exploiting loopholes. She's using competitive pressure to create sustainable change. And that's exactly what the WNBA needed, even if they were terrified to admit it. All right, narrative analysts, what do you think about this alternative league leverage game? Are you buying the conspiracy theories about CBA manipulation? Or do you see the collaborative transformation I'm describing? Drop your analysis in the comments, because I read every single one. If this breakdown opened your eyes to angles other channels won't cover, smash that subscribe button and hit notifications so you never miss when we dive deep into the meta-narratives. Driving WNBA culture. And if you know someone who's been following the Clark CBA drama but missing the alternative league context, share this video with them. The more people who understand the real dynamics at play, the better conversations we can have about where the league is heading. Thanks for rolling with me on this investigation, and I'll catch you in the next deep dive into the stories behind the stories that shape women's basketball.